Good afternoon. Today we're going to be doing a repair attempt for claim number 0789607040. The shingle in question is the one that I have outlined here in blue with the red stripe going through it. That is the shingle in question. As you can see, the shingle is creased all the way through and is unsealed. Now, I want to point out a couple things before we go ahead and get started with this video. The first thing that I want to point out is, first and foremost, this roof, besides the actual condition and the widespread damage on every slope, is not repairable because IRC says so. R904-2, which is compatibility of all like materials. It is actually illegal to do a repair on this roof. The reason being, as you can see here, this shingle is non-compatible. It is a standard dimension shingle, and today we work with metric. It has a 5-inch exposure versus today's standard or current shingle exposure of 5 5/8. The length of the shingle, I'm not worried about. I can always cut that. I cannot modify the width of the shingle because manufacturer says I can't, IRC says I can't, but most importantly because I cannot cut from this side nor this side because these are both sealant strips, and that is how you properly install a shingle and have it properly adhere to the roof. Should someone make a repair with a current shingle on a non-current roof, it would be very susceptible to wind damage. And being that I am a certified repairability assessor, I'll put my certification number below in the video. This roof cannot be repaired. Now, for the intents and purposes of this video, I will go ahead and go forward with the repair just as long as we're under the understanding that this roof will be getting a tarp where this shingle gets removed. I will not, I repeat, will not leave this shingle on this non-compatible roof. Now, what you're looking at is the shingle in question, and I have identified shingles surrounding it that could be affected during this repair. So I'm going to go ahead and set my camera up. We're going to do our repair. When it's all said and done, we're going to evaluate all the shingles surrounding it just to see the repairability of this roof, even if it was a compatible shingle. So let me set my camera up here so everybody can see what's going on. I'm a one-man operation today, so please excuse me. Okay, looks like we're good to go. All right, so without further ado, we got our handy-dandy tools here, roof snake, hammer, 1.25" roofing nails. I like to use this flat pry bar. That is the proper technique to breaking the sealant line on a shingle. It's flat, it's sharp. It'll get the shingle broken without broken free, the sealant line broken free without causing extra damage. As you can see here, this tool, though it can do the job, it's my belief that the proper way to break the sealant line would be with something like this flat bar. So let's go ahead and get started here. The first thing that we're going to do, as we already know, this shingle, the sealant line is broken, so we need to go ahead and get shingle 4 and 5 sealant line broken free because we know this shingle is high nailed. So let's go ahead and do that. Starting with shingle 4 here. Now, as you can see, I'm going to use my hands in this as little as possible here because I don't want to cause any unnecessary damage. So I'm going to just be very gentle trying to get this broken free. Today's temperature is 71 degrees outside. So we are within that 40 to 90 degree ambient temperature range. There we go. Looks like shingle 4, oh, it's just about free. Okay, 4 is free. Now that 4 is free, I can go ahead and use my roof snake. Excuse me one second, I'm gonna grab my pitch hopper here. All right, now that 4 is broken free, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my pitch hopper. And I'm gonna go ahead and use this roof snake and get the nails out, the first row of nails. Lifting up ever so slightly on these. Okay, this is the shingle in question. I'm really not too concerned if that gets any more damage because it's already damaged. It needs to be repaired. So, okay, looks like some of these pulled through a little bit. Okay, first row's out. Now let's go ahead and get the second row out. Use my flat bar again, breaking the sealant line on 5. This roof's in really bad shape, it's old. I mean, we're gonna do our best though. Okay, looks like 5 is free. We're gonna have to go ahead and get the edge of 7 here. I'm not even gonna break the whole thing free, just the edge. As you can see, the shingle line goes up to about here. So, just the edge. As you can see, we're already getting pretty severe granular loss. Okay, 6 is good. As you can see, it follows up here, so we just need to do a little bit more of 7. That should be good. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and get our roof snake out, and let's get these nails pulled. Some of these nails are in there good. Just years and years of expansion and contraction. Now some of these nails appear to be a little bit overdriven. That's okay. Some of these nails are just pulling directly through. Looks like we got one holding us up here. Yep, we sure do. And it's pulled through 4 and 5. there is the shingle in question. Now, as you can see, severe granular loss, but that's the damaged shingle. Now, one quick thing to point out before we continue is the severe mat transfer. Now, as you know, this is the shingle in question. So if there's mat transfer here, which is material transfer, if there's material transfer here, that means it's transferred from the shingle above it, meaning that shingle 4 is damaged. Let's carry on. Make sure this is set up correctly. Yep. Okay. So, let's go ahead and get these couple nails out right here that were giving us a hard time. Jeez. Okay. That one is stuck in there. Very, very good. I'm gonna leave it because I don't want to cause any leaks, especially knowing that we have to put a tarp on this. But what I will tell you, and I will show you with the camera, is that there's material transfer on the under laminate. So, and I'll show you, but you know, even if this shingle was a current shingle that was repairable, you know, that alone right there would dictate a non-repairable status, just because the under laminate has to be continuous. It cannot be patched. But let's go ahead and follow through. All right, now, a couple things to note here. So, I want to do this. I'm going to go ahead. Well, before I do that, let me show you something. I'm going to take this out of here. I hope it doesn't shut off. Okay. So, I mean, obviously you can see the severe granular loss, but that's the least of our worries. So, shingle number 1, mat transfer everywhere on shingle number 1. Shingle number 1 has now been damaged. There's the mat. Okay, let's do this. I'm gonna lift shingle 4 up because it is now damaged. Look at that. That's material transfer at its finest right there. All the way down the shingle. Look at that. Mat transfer. Now, I wanted to show you this. So, try to get pretty close here without lifting too high. That is an overdriven nail. That is a staple that has came up. That is material transfer ripping through. So that is the under laminate that has now been damaged. There's another factor of repairability. Okay, now we got the we had to break the sealant line on shingle number 5. We have nail pull-throughs. Jeez, look at that. Big mat transfer on shingle number 4 and 5. Shingle number 7 and 6, nail tears. Damage to the under laminate. Big mat transfer, look at that. Now, that's on shingle 6. Remember, shingle 6, I only had to break half of the sealant line, so the other half of the shingle is still sealed. Okay, so severe mat transfer on just a portion of 6 that we had to break free. So far we have, let's just go through it real quick. So far, shingle 1 has failed. Shingle 4 most definitely has failed. Shingle 5 failed. That's with the mat transfer underneath of it. Okay, shingle 6, I just showed you that one. That has failed entirely. Shingle 7, we didn't even look at shingle 7 yet. Let's go ahead and take a peek at her. Now, shingle 7, we only had to break half of the sealant line. Let's take a peek under there. Big mat transfer. Look at that. Okay. Nail pull through mat transfer. The shingle itself has ripped. Actually, I saw another rip over here too. Where was that? Here. We've already said that's a failure, but so far, every single shingle has failed. Well, let's check number 8 before I speak too soon. A big mat transfer on 8. 8 has just the corner up and it has failed. Look at this. Lightly rubbing my hand. That is just creased just from unsealing it very little. Big fail. So far, every shingle has failed over here except for shingle 2 and 3, which don't even get affected during this repair. So the shingle itself is not repairable based off of the code, the dimensions of it. But the roof condition itself makes this shingle not repairable. I mean, the condition of it. I mean, look at all this damage. You guys just saw me do this. Trying to do an honest repair out here. I mean, we have damage on every slope. But I like to finish what I started. So I hope you'll bear with me on this one. And let me go ahead and just show you the key reasons on why this shingle is not compatible and what could potentially happen should you decide, or should a contractor decide to use a non-compatible shingle or compatible shingle with a non-compatible roof. So easiest way to do this, take the old shingle, put it over top the new shingle. We're going for length right here. We know the length of this old shingle is 36 inches. We're gonna make a score mark here, right at that 36 inches. That's the easiest way to do it right there. Now that we got that, we can go ahead and put her on, at least to temporarily show you what are the issues. Sorry, my razor knife is not cooperating there. There we go. Okay, now like I said, I'm not nailing this shingle in because I can't legally. But what I can do is place it in here and show you why it's not repairable. Right after I get this nail out, it's stopping me from pushing this shingle all the way in. Well, you know what? That's that nail. I'm not going to pull that out because it's already damaged the underlay on it. I don't want to create a potential leak for this homeowner. So we're going to just go ahead and mock her into place here. If you would bear with me ever so kindly. Okay. Now that our strike zones are lined up, and like I said, bear with me because I will not nail this shingle into place, but as you can see here, this is what it looks like when you put a current shingle in with a non-current shingle. There's some pretty key reasons on why you can't do this. Reason number 1 and most obvious is the reveal, the exposure. You know, you have another almost inch of exposure showing here. That's going to be very susceptible to wind. You're not going to get proper sealant. It's not going to adhere to the roof the way it needs to. You know, your strike zones, depending on which way, if you were to illegally cut this shingle, modify it, your nail strike zone's not going to line up. The shingle itself is not intended to be modified this way. It was designed this way to work the way it is. So with all that being said, I hope I was able to show you the repairability factor of this roof. I'm going to go ahead and stamp it and say that this roof is not repairable. It has failed, this ATR. Brittle test is a big fail here. Granular loss, I mean, that's literally a no-brainer. Mat transfer, another no-brainer. Creasing, we most definitely got the creasing I showed there on shingle number 7. So in closing, this ATR has failed. Thank you for taking the time to view this video.